Welcome once again to the Diary of a Nihilist. Today we'll be talking about weed, smoking joints, the herb, marijuana, cigarettes, reefers, smoke the joints in the morning, 420, all that shit. My first encounter with weed was in high school. I was 17 at the time. I had a couple of friends from my class that would smoke it. From what I remember, weed was never really considered the worst thing in existence. It was just that one drug that made you high, chill, made you laugh like crazy, make you become non-responsive. It was actually considered kinda cool. Now bear in mind that I lived my youth in a very special age in human history. I don't know how popular weed is nowadays, but back then, in that Bush era, in that post 9/11, that early Obama era, weed was just cool. There was this TV show called Weeds. Every girl watched at least. There was the Daily Show. That there was an inside joke that Daily Show is only funny. The Jon Stewart is only funny if you're high. It was probably true too. And there was also Harold and Kumar. They were incredibly popular as a movie duo. So I don't really remember how big the extent was of this promotion of the drug, but it's been pushed on us quite a lot. And the most recent, it came in waves. I think the most recent wave was in 2013, 2014, 2015. It was the dank memes, the deal with it, the Tug Life, the Snoop Dogg, the MLG horn. But even before that, the promotion was on a pretty high scale. So when I was 17, I was completely receptive to trying it out. In fact, I tried it out before I tried the cigarettes. This was in October 2009. We're all a bit drunk. It's Friday night. We're standing in a circle, and suddenly that smell came up, and then the joint was passed on, and I didn't really think much of it. I knew that I was supposed to think about whether this was a smart idea, but maybe the peer pressure wasn't as much pressure, but sort of a leisure. I was at a leisure to smoke weed, just like my friends, just like the cool kids. It didn't feel wrong, nobody was persuading me, it just felt comfortable enough, and so I tried it. There were no effects, at least none I could feel. In fact, in all my years of casually smoking it, there were very few times that I actually felt something. Most of the time I remember laughing really hard, thinking things were funny. I remember feeling accepted, feeling loved, cared about, feeling good. But that feeling wasn't so much on the plant itself, it was because of the culture of smoking it. Because weed is a social drug. It's a drug for social occasions. I smoked alone once and it was just weird. All the other times we were all just hanging out. Someone rolled a joint, someone provided a filter, someone managed to light it up, and then it was passed on. During my years, I've smoked with a lot of people in a lot of locations. It really does help you to connect with people, and in a way, uh, I don't even know. I think that at least the people around you kind of feel connected to you because you're smoking it with them. I've never really thought about connecting with people too much, but that's just my loner nature. I didn't think it was kind of cool to just hang out and smoke. Like it's just our thing, right? And it's something special you do with special friends and strangers. You do it are instantly kind of homely. They just feel more homely to you not so strange. It's fairly easy to understand why the over-socialized people actually just turn into hippies. Because the weed makes them feel like everyone around them, the whole world, because they experience society on a much larger scale than everyone else, that the whole world is just this tight group of people, that just, this huge mass of people is actually just something that loves them. You don't get that feeling if you're like me, but someone that has a tight small group of friends. But you can understand why hippies exist when you try this out. So during the high school years we smoked a lot, and we used to hang out at this old baseball field in the early mornings before school. We'd roll a joint, we'd smoke it. So the first few hours of school were then always fun, and it just felt like I belonged in somewhere, and maybe even into this like a esoteric circle, so to speak, because that's another aspect of weed. It can be exclusive. It's like how in old westerns the Indians always tell the cavalry leader to smoke the pipe of peace with them because that will make the peace official. That's kind of how being in a weed smoking circle is like. You're assured by other people's presence. You trust them. They are your brothers, no matter what. It's also probably true for larger parties, for concerts. If someone would refuse to smoke it, but just sit in that circle, that wouldn't feel right. It just wouldn't. It would seem a bit off, like, he may be trying to rob us. I could be sitting in a circle with 10 convicted pickpockets, but if none of them would smoke, only the one would actually concern me. I think that's the biggest benefit of smoking. It's bigger than any of the side effects. It's bigger than the laughter or hallucinations, of which I only had one. I was smoking with a friend, and when we were done, we got the munchies. So we stood up, couldn't move, or at least he couldn't. He stood there, and then he just sat down. I did kind of stagger around a bit, but I also had trouble moving. Then I looked up into the sky, and I've seen the most amazing thing. The night sky was shining like a movie lights, and the stars got this star shape, for once. They were all white, pale even, and they started falling down the sky, the way mascara drips down the face of an actress if the sweat hits her face. It was quite amazing, but that was, as I've said, the only real experience of hallucinations. As far as stoner life goes, it is also true that there's something romantic to it. For me at least, my stoner years were heavily influenced by films such as Dazed and Confused and Big Lebowski. It was all about taking it easy, combined with that sense of teen spirit. It is a real thing that the society provides for you, that feel. It's very much a unique part of the living in modernity. My favorite thing in the world was experiencing the cold autumn mornings with fog rising from the ground. It all felt incredible, heavenly even. Getting high makes you romanticize your surroundings, makes you numb to a lot of the pain or worries and such. It's definitely pleasant. I do feel though, as I've only been talking about the positive experiences with weed, which wasn't the point of this. The fact is, there's very little wrong with it. It's been smoked long before the degenerate drug culture of modernity arose, but never in human history has it been promoted as much as today. That is the biggest problem for me. Smoking weed during your teenage years is all well and good. You're still a kid, you don't have any real responsibilities or worries. It's socially acceptable to be a bit out of it, to enjoy yourself, to not really respond to people's demands, to demands of society. But at one point, weed is not good for you anymore. It makes you irresponsible, it makes you lazy, it wrecks your brain so that your memory is completely fucked. It makes you oblivious to society at large. Precisely because of what we've been talking about earlier, because of that esoteric feel you get when you get into a circle with other people. That's why most people that smoke weed well into their 20s and 30s always end up as degenerates, as irresponsible, lazy, diseased bums who feel entitled to someone else's work and who feel like they're superior to regular people. The problem with weed is not that it's a gateway drug. The problem is it makes you feel like you're special, that you see the truth others don't, that working hard is something tryhards do, that not just letting loose and enjoying yourself is a form of, well, stuck-uppery. This is why all the 1960s movies portray anyone in a suit and tie as a stuck-up conservative idiot, and everyone wearing Hawaiian shirts and doing drugs while fucking diseased prostitutes are considered morally righteous and good. Because the directors were all fucking stoned when they filmed them. That's the real brain on drug experience. Before I go any further, I need to quickly explain something. There's no doubt in me that marijuana has got some health benefits to it. None at all. It could be possible. It could be possible that it does have some health benefits. But in that case, it belongs to the patient, not to the healthy individual who's got all the potential in the world he's losing over it. And that's the important point. Weed is drug. It's addictive. It can potentially cause psychological damage to your brain. And it can also kill you. Of course it can. There's more and more traffic accidents that happen solely because the driver smoked weed. He took it a bit too easy and bam, an accident happened. And then there's the addiction aspect. It's generally a big trap you can fall into, because weed generally doesn't have any horrible effects on your health. It's not like heroin, where you can fucking see the damn junkie in front of you is dying because of his habit. Weed isn't like that. You only know you're dealing with a weed junkie because he simply cannot go without his drug. People that smoke a lot of weed are generally more angry, have more outbursts, they can get extremely violent if they don't get to smoke that morning joint. It's true, and it's way more damaging than, let's say, a smoker trying to quit. He may be a bit nervous, he may be a bit needy, but he's nowhere near the level of antisocial behavior that a weed smoker shows when you question his beliefs and opinions. He's unable to think without smoking. He's unable to draw conclusions on his own. He needs his drum circle and he needs the green in order to think for himself. He becomes dependent, but because there's no physical damage, he never notices it. I know I never have till I stop. Only then I've realized how clearer my mind is, how faster my brain, and how more calm I am without it. It was quite amazing, especially because, popular culture portrays it a bit differently. And that brings me to the last point. Popular culture. Nobody did more damage to young people than popular culture, than celebrities, than movies, TV shows. People promoting weed like it's the best thing on the planet. I honestly can't get over the fact that they've been telling us consistently, forever, that there's literally nothing wrong with weed, that it is some wonderful medicine that cures fucking cancer AIDS. Not just a plant that has harmful effects as well as some good ones. The liberal PR machine has been in full swing, straight up lying about this drug, and even now when we know health benefits have been exaggerated and feel like we can talk more about it because, political correctness has been punched in its dirty face, we still can't really grasp the idea of how much they lied to us. Weed is a drug. It's not as harmful as others, but it's still harmful. It's still addictive. And yet all such notions have always been presented like, oh look at them evangelical Christians, oh my god, why you no like weed, you fucking bigot, it's fucking current year, you fucking white male, And the liberals, every time they were faced with a critic, they created this idea like the establishment was always just doing this retarded anti-wheat PSAs, and the conservatives are just some dumb idiots that can't let loose and hence don't get it, man. It's so fucking painful once you realize how horrible the damage is that this liberal lie caused. People became degenerate. People became lazy bums. People managed to become so lazy and retarded due to 420 bro, blazed faggots, that the governments of the West have been incredibly successful in creating even more power over their people. And these stoner losers don't even realize it because they're always high and have their brains just melt. The more weed becomes something normal, the worse it's going to get. In the end, your whole society will be filled with just government slaves who in their spare time act like fucking violent monkeys that get constantly paranoid and, have been stoned retarded due to all the fucking herb they've smoked. The more we as a society permit weed, the more we make it feel welcome, the worse our society will look like. If you don't believe me, just check how societies that traditionally grow and smoke it are doing. You'll see that I'm right. In conclusion, weed should be illegal, should stay illegal, should only be considered a taboo that attracts teenagers. People that smoke weed beyond their teenage years are likely to become degenerates and will help bring down society, or alternatively always push for more government power, making everyone else enslaved in the process. Sorry for my harsh words, but despite my pleasant youthful experiences, I have come to realize how harmful the extended use of it can be, how big the lie they sold us, and how important it is to stay clean. Thank you for watching, Amikai Amiki. This former Nihilist is signing out. I'll probably make some more of these next week. Till then, goodbye.